So what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the GNSD podcast. I am Steve. Everybody, how's it going?
How's it going? DesperadoGPJ here. What's up?
Come on, fight for it. Go, 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 go.
Everyone's so
It's your boy
polite.
Bella, aka Dayaan, aka Swiftheart, aka Bella_Swift. Take it away, Nick.
Nick, aka LeetDemon or Leet.
All right, and today we are talking about Sea of Thieves. So if you haven't heard of Sea of Thieves is a first-person open-world adventure game where you and your friends set sail on an archipelago in search of quests, riches, monsters, and other players. This game has been out, Pirate Simulator. It's been out for about a year now. It was initially released through the Microsoft Store, but it was just re-released through Steam probably about a month ago, something like that. So we're gonna talk a little bit about our initial impressions of the game. I believe most of us played the game when it first came out. I think Nick, you got the game for the first time recently through the Steam release. So we'll kind of compare those opinions here. Just kind of starting by going around the room. I guess I'll start with you, Dayaan. So what was your initial thoughts on Sea of Thieves, or just hearing about it for the first time?
I loved the idea of it because it was kind of like an MMO almost. It's massive multiplayer online experience, of course.
Yeah.
But more like traditional MMORPGs and stuff. So I was really drawn into the idea of it. But when I got into the game, it just seemed, and we're talking about before they added all this cool stuff. It just seemed like a fetch quest after fetch quest after fetch quest, you know? And it was a grind. And I love games where you can grind, because I usually listen to podcasts and stuff. But Sea of Thieves is not a game that you're meant to be playing alone. It's geared towards having a group of pirates with you. And it's just not fun playing alone. In fact, I'd say it's borderline impossible trying to get a ship going on your own and getting to the site and then get ganked and all your stuff is gone and all this stuff.
That's actually an important point real quick. So there's three kinds of ships that you can have in Sea of Thieves. There's the sloop, which is a ship that can hold two players. So you by yourself or you with a friend. That's the one. You can technically pick any three ship by yourself, but realistically you'd be going with the sloop if you're playing by yourself. And then there's the Brigante, three-player ship, and then the Galleon, the four-player ship.
Well, one of the reasons why it's not fun to grind by yourself because the rewards are so shitty. The whole thing was when you grind something, you want to get that level up, you want to get that ability that you can then stick on someone else, to fight them or beat them or whatever. But there's only cosmetics, and the cosmetics are really boring. And the weird thing about it is that it's still, to this day, it still has those that's the only kind of hook, which is just, no pun intended, to get the fucking people in, is just using this not even that great cosmetics, which is bizarre.
Mm-hmm. So what was your, Greg, what was your first impression of what you thought the game would be before you started playing? Go for it. Lay it on us. How much was the game worth?
This game, I was originally not going to buy it because I'm, a cynical asshole, and I only buy games when they're fully out and fully fledged and fully reviewed and everything.
Not $60.
Yeah, not $60. Well, I mean, especially on Steam, because then you get it on sale or whatever. But this was first of all, it was on the Microsoft Store, so when I strike one, I don't give a shit about Microsoft. They suck a lot of time. It's slow loading. They force you to have a weird system where you can't swap between. Steam is the perfect you can go from the overlay if you want, go to the store, whatever. It all works out. It's all good. That's what they do. But this one was the Microsoft Store. You can only buy it there. Really weird, annoying, and not clunky. I had to make all my friends on there. And I mean, day one, $60. I only bought it because you fuckers bought it, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be great. Let's all play together. It'll be great. Bought it. Immediately, we were starting having issues with it. I mean, I guess there were glitches and we made a video of it and put on your YouTube, Bella, of just goofy shenanigans where we're screaming and the ship flew off into the distance and it was actually kind of entertaining, honestly, but it was definitely minimal because immediately as we got in, we realized that it's just you're saying, fetch quest, do a thing. You basically get the experience after a couple hours, and then you're pretty much done. And then again, there's no cosmetics that are actually worth going towards or anything other than cosmetics. Mm-hmm. You don't become a better pirate or whatever. So immediately it seemed okay, why did I spend $60 on this game? Honestly,
Yeah, so I definitely I do agree that initially a year ago when we started playing, it was one of those we had to kind of like make our own fun, right? As we were playing the
Yeah,
game. So
exactly.
I was like on the Sea of Thieves train 6 months before it was released a year ago. I was
Yeah.
like really following the development. I was participating in like the beta chats. It was really interesting to me when I first heard about it. Needless to say, when it was first released, I think it did fall short in terms of content. I think what was there was like it was okay. Like it's not like the game itself was like super shitty and broken in all kinds of like ridiculous ways. It just was kind of empty. So you had sort of these sort of boilerplate quests or so on that you would go forth, and really you kind of had to go out of your way to make the game interesting or like do the PvP and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of it was just sailing, so a lot of it was like in the downtime, and thank God they had instruments and stuff, because that made that really filled the time.
Hurdy-gurdy.
And now, I mean, it's more fleshed out. You can actually have like ghost ships attacking and stuff like that. It's way more fast.
Yeah.
But before, it was like nothing. So it's just like literally just talking and drinking and doing whatever you could to try to make it interesting.
So before we go into too much further detail, so that was us like shitting on the game from a year ago.
Nick his first impression.
Yes, exactly. So kind of fast forward a year, now the game has fully released, quote unquote, on Steam. So Nick, what was your first impression of Sea?
Well, even though it was in full release, I was still apprehensive because the only reviews I really was listening to was you guys. And after watching Fella's videos of just all this shit going wrong, I mean, as entertaining as it was, like Desi said, it's just kind of a short-lived thing, and you feel like you're in the grind. So I was very apprehensive. I almost just didn't want it. It looked interesting. I wish I would have gotten it to experience it, but if it wasn't for a couple other friends who I play with on the weekends for the most part, just telling me to get it when I was looking for something different, I probably would have never got it.
Yeah, it's $40 right now on Steam, and it's actually has very positive reviews, which is impressive.
Yeah. So what was your impression like after loading into the game? Like how do you feel about the game? Did it deliver for you? What do you think it was worth the price?
I don't think it's worth $40 even as it stands now. I think it's a solid $25 game.
Yeah, for sure.
I think 40 now. Now it's worth 40. I'd say that.
You have you have $40 of entertainment when you play
at this point. I mean, because we put a good amount of hours in it now.
That's true.
We forced out $60 worth of entertainment.
Yeah.
After a year.
And me for a great YouTube video. That's about it for me.
I would love to know how many hours we have in that game, because I think it's only around like 8 or something, but they're fairly memorable.
It's a fair amount of time. I mean,
it gives you an experience that's kind of what it was offering. It was like, this is the party experience. We're gonna give it to you, but they promised more. I think they initially promised more like adventure and like it could be endless, but it's really like you can just go to an island and follow a map and follow 3 instructions that are like for like 10-year-olds.
And it's not like you're going to like uncharted territory.
Right.
The map itself is pretty small. Like the places where you go take you like a couple of minutes.
It's all generated. It's not like Minecraft where it's just like endless random geometry. Geometry.
So I guess let's kind of talk through some of the things that the game sort of offers. So initially, the three or say for the PvE aspects of the game, there are various trading companies. I think there's like 6 or 7 trading companies in total. There are originally only 3. The 3 main ones that I'm aware of are the Gold Hoarders, the Order of Souls, and the Merchant Alliance. So the Gold Hoarders, the way that they work is you go to a Gold Hoarder, you pick up a voyage. The voyage will take you to an island on this archipelago. And what you'll have is one of 2 options. You'll either have I'll call it a riddle in quotation marks, because it's really just, hey, find this thing and then find this thing and then find this thing. And then
instructions,
Yeah, they're basically instructions like go here, then go here, then go here, then walk 5 paces east.
Treasure map.
Yeah, and then that's the other one is you find a treasure map that just shows you a picture of the island with a big red X. So that's the Gold Hoarders in a nutshell.
And those were my favorite for the longest time, because it was like the most like that is the experience I want to get from this game. It's like I want to be a pirate, I want to follow that shit. But the problem is that it gets old real quick. And so it was great for like a limited time, but you can only do that so much for the grinding rewards and whatever. And one of the best things about the game is that you could do these things, spend hours doing them, and then someone attacks you, and you could potentially lose it all.
Yeah.
which is great. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you lose it all, it's like the most disheartening thing in the world.
I know.
Yeah, you don't get any rewards until you find all the treasure on your voyage, which could take you to like 5 or 6 islands, and then go all the way back to the main outpost. You can only sell at outposts or special locations.
Yeah.
And only then, and you have to like pick up all the pieces of loot, carry them off your ship, walk them over to the guy, sell them, and there's players in that world. So if another player sees you carrying this nice, pretty golden chest over,
Yeah.
they might try to take it. So I think that was a fun aspect of the game.
Yeah,
is the idea of that.
Like I was gonna say, it's very much unique in that sense. Like it's definitely a next gen because it's like this experience I've never had before. I love that about it. The fact is, just like you can't really have a game that's, more than 10 hours of doing that exact thing over and over again. And so again, the new game they've kind of like made it more interesting. They've had like more NPC stuff that's more engaging, like you're saying with the ghost galleys that attack you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the Kraken and the giant shark or whatever. That thing that wasn't there at first. When that's there, it makes way more sense. Keeps it filled in. It fills in the gaps. But before that, it was like so empty and awkward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys feel about the naval combat side of it? That's a huge part of Sea of Thieves.
Very good.
I actually thought it was pretty fleshed out. Of all the kind of naval combat games we've played,
Black Wake.
Yeah.
Black Wake. Yeah, well, Black Wake was like super hardcore, like realism.
Yeah.
They crushed that
every
one
aspect
concept.
of it.
Because not many games take on the naval warfare because it's such a, not in terms of other kind of warfare, it's like the most boring and straightforward. It's just like load the cannon, shoot the cannon, load the cannon, shoot the cannon. But they did a good job of making it interesting. At least Black Wake did, and so did this game because they quicken it, they make it more interesting.
So the idea of the naval combat in the game is you have your cannons on your ship that you can load and you can fire and you can angle them and all that good stuff. But then there's also your sails that you can then angle and you can change the direction. And then there is wind, and there's sort of a wind direction, and you can kind of see the wind goes by. So if you get the wind in your sails, you go faster. If you cut your sails, then you go slower. So there's a lot of different strategy for like, let's drop anchor and quickly turn the ship to do a quick turn. And then we got to raise the anchor real quick to do all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, they crushed that. And that's why, again, at the core of it, when we first bought it, it's like, I could see the potential of this game because they got the basics down. That's the main essential core of the game, and they crushed it. Mm-hmm. The problem is that, and then when they first released it, they had nothing. They had nothing to go around it because one, it was just other players. So you would have randomly find other players. Again, once the game started to become less popular, there was like no one out there. It was desolate.
Nope.
And two, it was like, you don't necessarily want players because you're looking to just farm these things and get the rewards. That's the whole point of the game. Is to get this gold. It's like you don't get that much gold from hunting down people unless they happen to have the gold in their possession already. So it was a weird. They did a weird job of not rewarding you for going after players. They did a weird job of like incentivizing you to go for players, but at the same time, it's a huge risk. So it was very weird.
What I would have liked to have seen from them was to make the voyages slightly harder, but make the rewards a lot better.
Which is what they did later.
Sort of. I mean, I think definitely some of the newer stuff is better. Like we'll talk in a little bit about all the kind of things like skull forts and all the new stuff. And
skull forts are the way to go, baby.
Yeah, Nick will be able to talk a little more about that since you've done a lot of it recently. But at least originally, like, I remember giving feedback to them, like right when the game was released early ago, basically telling them like the riddles are not really riddles and they really should be riddles if they're going to be called riddles.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Like it'd be great if there was just like, if they started off more vague and maybe there's a little bit of clarity, like the longer you stayed at an island, so it's like you get this very vague riddle. And then if you stayed on the island for like 10 minutes and couldn't figure it out, then the next part would reveal itself and it just starts getting kind of like a handicap, right? So the longer you wait on the island, the better it gets. And then you start getting better at interpreting these riddles. That would feel more fulfilling than like, because go here, go here, go here, then go here. It's like, well, the first 3 things didn't matter.
It was a weird balance of what they wanted to go for in the game. If they wanted to go for that, if that was the main central point of the game was to do the treasure hunting aspect, which is a huge part of being a pirate, obviously. So you think that would be part of it. Like that would make sense, but they seem to put most of their time in developing the actual naval combat / like water. Like the water looks great.
The mechanics and visuals are beautiful.
Like that's where they put most of their money, and I think it's a shame because I think that the game was initially sold as just a concept, like you were saying, like Bella, you were like the concept's what drew you in, because that's where it's at. It's like I want to be a pirate. That's like a thing that's been fully exploited yet.
My friends are pirates too.
Like most of them were saying like, what was it? Black Wake and like Black Flag, Assassin's Creed were like the two major ones that people have drawn inspiration from in terms of recent games dealing with pirates.
Yeah.
And like that's pretty slim. So I think they were going for that real hardcore pirate audience. And that's why they went for like, specifically they like, you can have a peg leg, you can have a hook. Yeah, that's terrible. That's like the main crux of the cosmetic, like, one you go for. But it's like, why not just focus, like you're saying, on if you're going to go there, go very specific and hardcore into those details. But they wanted a way more broad brush kind of like, make sure 10-year-olds can do it too. Make sure, the general audiences can handle it. They're not expecting, 20-year-olds to be doing this. Or I mean, they're not aiming for that demographic.
I think one of the things that they might have like it just kind of didn't really come to the forefront is that it does take time to get to these islands, and like the rewards that you get from some of these like quests are just not worth the effort that you put into them.
I agree.
There's a wide variety of randomness in the kind of loot you get. So you might find one chest that sells for like 1,200 gold. And then like in the very next part of your quest of like the same level of quest, you might find like, oh, this one sells for 100 gold. Yay. Glad you sailed 20 minutes and,
If you're actually incentivized by the cosmetics, you're going to want to go for the max value. And a lot of the time, a lot of stuff is not worth going for. And they did it at first, at least. They recently implemented the whole harpoon thing on the gun where it lets you shoot out a harpoon, which can then pick up a chest and bring it towards you quickly. Before they had that, you'd literally pick up every single chest and put it on your ship individually, one by one, and it would take so long. And then you'd individually take it off your ship, sell it to whoever you wanted to sell it to for like minor gold rewards. And it would take hours.
That's right.
Which
they added the rowboat later as well.
Yeah, the rowboat too. They did it again. This is before they add all these things.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare to try to like actually play the game as they intended.
Yeah.
Which was strange because it was like, once they add these things, it was like, oh, of course you're going to add these things that make perfect sense to add later. Of course you're going to want to make it faster distribution of your reward system. Why not? People would completely crush it.
Leet, talk about some of the new stuff that the game has now. Things like skull forts, cursed ships, the new monsters that are on the land, and the new areas. So you have, obviously, there's different type of skeletons now. You have your normal ones, white ones with bandanas and all that. Then you have these, I don't know the technical term, so if anybody experienced watching, I'm sorry, but I call them like shadow skeletons, where the only way you can hit them is if you hold up your lantern to them. And they're affected by light.
The skeletons are NPCs that you fight on the islands that will protect.
Yeah.
And whatever, you don't really get anything from them. They're just there. They make the battle aspect.
At first, there was just basic skeletons, though, and they were just pathetic. It was just like this. They would do nothing to you. They couldn't hit you. It was so bad. But at least they implemented, like you're saying, like different kinds of them.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have what's called skull forts, where these skeletons are protecting these little fortified islands, little compounds, and they're shooting cannons at you as you approach. So you are already in the fight before you even get to the island. You have to clear all these skeletons, and then you basically start a wave-based thing. And you get these skulls. You get 4 skulls fighting these different type of captains that pop up, and then you get a key for defeating this certain type of skeleton, an Ashen Guardian and an Ashen Keymaster. They're like mini bosses. And then you defeat the actual boss of the island itself, get the key, unlock the fort itself.
Get paid!
A crap ton of loot, usually.
Money!
If you don't blow yourself up with the stronghold explosive barrels.
Bell doesn't know anything about because he's never done it. There's an old school boy who just gave up on the game.
There's actually 3 types of barrels in the game. There's a normal like gunpowder barrel where it's used in PvP or it's used to clear out enemies and all that.
Shoot, it blows up.
There's one that's actually worth something. Help me out here, boys. What is
Stronghold barrel?
Yeah, a stronghold keg or something.
Yeah.
There's actually worth a lot, but it has a bigger explosion. There's a lot of damage.
Keep it in the crow's nest.
There's there's another one that's like off the Athena. It's like an even better one or something. I've only seen 2 of them ever.
Never seen them.
But they sell for even more.
Money that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's the best way to get money if you're a new player looking to make some quick cash. That's the way to look for it.
It's funny because
Yeah,
like when that came out, that was like how I thought that's how the game should be played. It's like you should go to the skull fort. You should then you take a risk. You expose yourself. It's like it takes a while to do. You have to like fight all these NPC waves. You do it. You get this big reward, and then you're vulnerable when you go back. It's like that was not there in the initial release. The initial release was like you had to do scrap together meager rewards and to hope that no one messes with you while you do it. Because if you do, they could take it all from the last second.
I forget whether it was like that once you come back to the docks, you could still gank, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you could sink your own ship and just sit there on the docks and wait.
Yeah.
For someone else to come back.
Yeah, it's just about people. You have to literally bring the chest to the guy on the island, and as you're bringing the chest to the guy on the island, you can get killed, and they can pick up the chest, and then they get paid. Like if it's 1 foot, if they move it, it's all it takes. It's just a bizarre concept.
Even back then, back then, ganking wasn't really worth it because, like, what are the odds that they have good loot? I mean, it depends on if they spent, 1 hour questing versus like 10 hours questing, because that's how long it took to get good stuff.
It's just something you had to do because it was like, oh, I'm gonna play the game. No, I want to kill people. That was like the one thing I want to kill children. That's the game.
So now, if you want to find a skull fort, what you do is you just look up in the sky and you'll see a cloud like a skeleton, and the eyes will flash. They'll flash green if the skull fort is not occupied, and then red if there's another team fighting the skull fort. So if it's activated.
And how's the Reaper flag work, Elite? How's it go?
Well, the Reaper is another selling aspect that was brought into the game.
Yeah, they add all this later. Yeah,
a new trading company.
Yeah. He's like the easy drop-off point, because the other drop-offs, they only take certain items. So Reaper, you can sell everything you have to him, for the most part. So a lot of people are drawn to him. But there's also these emissary flags. I think that's what Desi's trying to get. Emissary flags are something that you upgrade. You pick them up through these people, and as you pick up chests and all that, you upgrade your flag. If you get it to max level 5, you get like 2.5 more profit out of each thing you sell.
Bigger reward.
Yeah, but it puts you on the map, so everybody in that server can see where your ship is at all times.
These are all ideas that are great, and they should have had, or they might have had. They just hadn't implemented. But that is what should have been in the original game. When I replay with you guys, because I mean Nick was really into it. I was ready to give up on the game, but Nick brought us back in, and he was just like, "Dude, it's good now." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." And sure enough, it was like, "Oh, this is what the game should have been like, like a year ago." It was just like common sense stuff. It's like, yeah, there should be a way to like encourage PvP, like make the rewards more attainable. It just goes without saying.
And there's a lot more stuff in the game now that's good for content, which is why I play the game. Like one time I was playing with Nick and Steve, and I was below deck for some reason, just swinging my sword for no fucking reason, and I nicked an explosive barrel and all the same. Like I said, it makes for great content.
Yeah, we were holding on to this barrel. We were going to use it for PvP. If not, we were going to sell it if we survived. And we were on our way surviving, might I say. And he gets in a menu, and he clicks out of it, and he has his sword in hand. And he has a video of it, mind you, and it's fantastic. And he clicks out, and you see this sword come swinging down as he turns, and it just barely clips the barrel and blows up the ship.
Yep.
Hilarious.
My favorite was we were trying to get stuff off a skull keep, right? And I shoot the harpoon at a stronghold barrel to try to bring it onto the ship. And as it comes back, as it brings it in, rearing towards me, this explosive barrel clips the side of the ship and blows up like half the mast and like 2 of the explosive barrels.
No one else on the ship. So it's like, someone repair that?
So that's another thing we haven't touched upon. You get wooden planks, and you have a bucket, which is primarily what you use to kind of repair your ship. If there's a hole in the ship, and there'll be many, because of like naval combat, you know, just poor steering,
Running the
and
rocks,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, rocks.
running rocks. So you go downstairs and like you get your wooden whatever like planks, and you have to literally nail these holes down. And so you have the bucket just to go and like just get water. And it's exactly like I'm saying. You use the bucket, you get water, toss it over, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
It's just surprising that they kind of like, you know, this game was supposed to be like this but weird, you know, streamer experience, and like you can do all these different things, but it's pretty straightforward when you think about it. It's just like, you know, you take damage. I mean, yeah, goofy shit can happen, but other than that, I mean, you know, and like a kraken occasionally coming after you, stuff like that's interesting. But like once you experience it once, there's like no replayability a lot of times.
Well, definitely, it becomes a resource management game, because I remember when we all were fighting, we fought a cursed fleet, right? And then like we were like, oh shit, we're out of planks, and there's holes in the bottom of our ship. So like, yeah, all of a sudden you got like one person dedicated to bucketing water out while one person's trying to steer, and then the third person's like shooting cannonballs like a madman trying to get us out of here.
No, they definitely did a great job improving the game. Like, I honestly was taken aback of how good it was, because they improved, like there was different like curse balls, like it made all the combat more interesting, which was great because that was like the most concrete part they had of it.
The sleep
I was like, yeah, they had like a bunch of curse balls, which was really cool because you
put
could,
the
like,
crew to sleep. You can drop the anchor. You can make the steering wheel not turn. All different kinds.
Hit them on fire more easily.
And what's annoying about that, the Ghost Fleet uses them all the time.
Yeah, it's annoying.
And it drags the fight out.
It's good. It's good because it keeps it like there's actual challenge. It's not just like a joke, which we were before. It was like the fucking
there's an NPC to kill. Yeah,
the others were so bad when it first came out. They were terrible. But now they have like the gold ones that you can't normally attack unless you have explosives or fire, and that makes it way more interesting.
And every time a skeleton pops out of the dirt, it could be holding an explosive barrel.
That's true too. That's also great. Like all these things like make it not the most boring game, which is what it was before. Such an improvement.
One thing I like that was actually in the initial release, I believe, or it probably came after one of the first few patches. I'm talking about the different kinds of chests. You can literally get this chest that'll cry.
Yeah, like
if you bring it onto your ship, you're going to constantly be bucketing water out because it'll just sink you if you don't tend to it.
Those are great.
Those kind of things I really like. Yeah, I love that. Were there any others like it? Chest-wise?
Yeah, we have one called the Chest of Rage, actually. It's the complete opposite. It gets pissed off and the chest starts glowing and glowing, and then it just blows up.
Oh,
and it sets shit on fire.
So what do you do to kind of calm it down?
You have basically you put water in the bottom of your hull and let it slosh around, or you just keep throwing water at it.
I would have thought playing one of your musical instruments constantly might soothe it.
That would also be cool. They haven't done that yet.
That would be neat.
Yeah.
That'd probably drive somebody up a wall.
Because there's no real use for the instruments rather than just dicking around, right?
Yeah. Same. It should be.
Yeah.
Desi knows that.
Or some of the riddles have you play an instrument. But yeah, there's even another one, the Chest of 1,000 Grogs, where as you're holding the chest, you are really drunk.
You can actually get drunk in this game. Like you have grog or ale or whatever, and you always have it equipped in a mug, and it'll give you the spins like video games do. But apart from that, there's no real need for it. Also,
that's the thing.
Also,
it's like if you
reverse snack afterwards.
It's like
you're on your friend's face.
Yes.
You think if they had this thing in the game, it should have like a wide variety of like uses. It's like, let's say like you get drunk and then you're stronger in combat or something. Like that would make sense. It's like, oh,
like
okay,
Jackie Chan.
I'll take this disadvantage, but I'll be better at this other spot.
Yeah, there's an interesting concept that that other MMOs had, like WoW had this, where if you get really drunk in the game, like the enemies look like they're a lower level.
There you go.
So it like encourages you to take harder fights.
I love
really
that.
Cool.
It's better than nothing.
So that would be like a better way to kind of handle something like that. Is just make everything just look a little easier.
Yeah.
We'll just give it more facets.
Confident.
Make it more like you want to reward the player for trying new things. Like there's no reward for having someone get drunk because you're at a huge disadvantage. You move uncontrollably, your vision's fucked up, and you will barf randomly. So like, but if there was some bizarre advantage or like reason to it other than you're bored, which is not what the reason should be in the game, but it would be more interesting because then it encourages the player to experiment with your game. And if the player experiments and they're not rewarded, then why would you want to do something new and different? You would just keep doing the same thing.
You know what they should have done? Whenever you play a musical instrument and you're drunk, it sounds horrible.
I love that. That's a great thing. That's true.
But what they should have done is for the person who's playing it, the person who's drunk, they should have made it sound really nice.
Should have been better. Should have been better.
Like some phonic
like a
orchestra
symphony.
playing.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
Yeah, and everyone's like, wait, this sounds great. What are you talking about?
So like
That is one of the things I do respect about this game is that you can do that. Get drunk and your music sounds worse, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
Or
it's
like-
So it's small touches that they could easily expound upon on, and they just
Yeah.
it's still like an early access. I mean, even though it's not.
a beer goggles kind of thing where you pick up a chest when you're drunk, it looks like it's something else. Like
Or like
Yeah.
God.
there's no pirate wenches in this game. There should be pirate wenches.
Oh,
It's a major part of being a pirate.
Or you just start seeing sharks where there aren't sharks.
Or mermaids. None of that's a really thing.
that's more of an LSD thing, I feel.
I'm not being a pirate, baby.
Mushrooms on this island. That,
LSD and
Pirates
drinking
on
salt water
acid.
are pretty
yeah,
close.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what actually would be neat? This is a brilliant idea. I really wish they put this in.
Pen and
If you
penny.
get drunk, you're more likely to see a group of sirens
Yeah,
on
exactly.
an
No,
island
for
or
sure.
something like that, and
Yeah.
you're drawn to it. Like
I would love that.
that would be
That'd be
neat. Yeah, and your ship just gets drawn to it. Like you as a player cannot control it, but that would be sick. But
No, yeah.
but there would, like Desi said, or like everyone said, there has to be a reason for you to drink.
It comes down to a matter of polish. And the
Yeah.
game at first was not polished at all. It was embarrassingly not polished. And now
in terms of content.
No, I
in
think
terms
it
of
had
content, in terms of like just what you can do.
it had aesthetic polish, but it just felt empty.
Yeah. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can focus on your one, facet, but you have to get polish. Polish refers to everything. It's
Right,
not just the
I know,
one
yeah.
aesthetic. So yeah.
For me, it was like
I think-
a really beautiful bowl with no beans in it. Like,
Right,
It
yeah.
needed content.
I think one thing that I'm still kind of waiting for them to add is more underwater content. So there are a couple
Yeah,
things you can
that'd be
do
good.
underwater. There are sunken ships, so you can happen across.
You can also depth
a-
charge a ship underwater.
Exactly. Yeah, you can. You can go underneath with your explosive barrel underneath an enemy ship where they can't see you underwater, and you release it, and it floats up, and it boom blows their hull. But then you occasionally, as you're sailing across the ocean, you'll see a pack of like circling seagulls, and what that usually indicates is that there's something in the water, and that could be a group of barrels where you can potentially see some loot there. You can see some treasure. You can get some supplies, some new planks, and cannonballs, and so on and so forth. Bananas, plenty of bananas.
Bananas are good.
But then you can occasionally see a mast sticking out of the water, or sometimes there's no mast and it's
the
like further
wrecks.
down.
Yeah.
Exactly, the underwater wrecks, and then you have to dive down, and sail or swim to the bottom of the wreck to loot it. And there's usually some pretty good loot in the bottom of those wrecks, but there's also sharks, so you got to watch for sharks.
Here's the thing. That's like a perfect example. It's like you could easily have more than one shark. They only have one shark in the game. They could have like different kinds of sharks. Like they could have like silent ones that do like less damage, but they're like you can't hear them until they're on top of you. You could have like
A shark that grabs you and brings you down.
or like does more damage, but then you see it coming, or like it's more like whatever. There's so many things you could do. The fact is they have like one kind of shark, and it only comes like when you're in the water for whatever 20 seconds
Yeah.
or whatever. It's very bare bones.
Swimming
Yeah.
knives.
And like you're saying, like that is a great way to expand. It's like, what do we have? We have, you could search shipwrecks. Okay. Make more different, interesting shipwrecks, put more of them out there. That's like the next step.
Because like it's the sea, you could do anything.
Exactly.
It's the most
Yeah.
beautiful underwater sandbox. Why haven't we had like an Atlantis update yet, where you can
There you
actually
go. Yeah.
find
Or-
the city, and it,
Sure.
Hidden underwater caverns that maybe have some air pockets.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they
could
already
lead
have
to an
mermaids.
underground cave
made.
system.
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah.
beautiful.
Fuck it.
Yeah, because right now, if you sail to the middle of the ocean and if you jump straight down, you're swimming down to skybox basically. There's
Yeah.
no bottom to the ocean. It's a very like ocean feel, whereas like there's no bottom to the ocean. But if you look at the map, like the islands are close enough that realistically
That's what I
the
didn't like.
the ocean floor is probably not that deep. I think honestly the ocean should have
Caribbean,
a floor.
We should test it.
Yeah. Yeah, we should test it. Yeah, but yeah, I think the ocean should have a floor. I think it should be deep down there.
Yeah.
I think they should add probably some items that might help with breathing
Like
underwater.
like a rebreather, like a MacGyver
Yeah.
style rebreather. Like
And
Yeah,
it's
or
possible that
something,
they
yeah.
did these limitations because of the whole scope of the whole game, because they are having, multiplayer. People can join in whenever. I don't know. what the
Yeah,
map
yeah.
is
There's
on the server.
performance issues, stuff like
Because
that.
honestly, I even when it was first coming out, I don't remember that many like actual lag issues for the most part. I remember being pretty solid, which was great. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
I mean, definitely a
it
positive
was
for
just
sure.
a clunky Xbox app thing that you had
Oh,
to
yeah.
get
Yeah.
into, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
see your friends online until The host mattered. Like
Sure.
it just left
That's
a bad
still a
taste in my
huge-
mouth. Even
that's a huge-
Origin was better
huge-
than that.
A huge technical
Yeah.
achievement is just not having to be a disaster in the kind of game they were going for, which was like having random people play
Yeah.
and have random encounters.
Yeah.
All that was great, which was surprising.
I'll say, other than like the occasional ship getting flung across the world, the game was relatively bug-free.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is great. But because it was free, because it was so basic.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot there, so it kind of they probably, I'd say, prioritized quality over quantity
Yeah.
in terms of like bug freeness, which is appreciated. But then you can't really claim you have a full game at that point.
No.
No.
I feel like Microsoft had I forget what studio it was that actually made this game, but
It was,
was
rare.
Rare.
it was
Yeah,
Rare.
Rare.
So Rare had a definite idea of how they want people to play this game. You can tell this by a few factors. Like, there's the fact that they have instruments on the ship means that serve no purpose. I'm talking about the
There's a social
release.
aspect.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a social aspect. It's meant to be a casual game. Crap, that was another thing I was gonna say.
Drinking.
I hate it when this happens. But yeah, they definitely had an idea. Oh, so yeah. So the gunplay is ridiculously clunky. They really wanted you to get into ships and like fight, like
Close range, yeah.
yeah, and yeah.
Which
It
is
just
good.
if you're looking for an FPS game, this is not it.
No.
This is definitely not it. This is meant, like I said earlier, it's meant for you and your buddies just go on an adventure. A very short, repetitive
Yes,
adventure.
yeah. It's like a weird contradiction. It's like
Yeah.
if you're gonna go for adventure, you should have it be more inventive and creative. But it's
Yeah.
very much formulaic, which is bizarre.
If you're gonna tout this as an open world game, maybe start by making it an open world game.
Exactly.
This is, I've never felt so boxed into such a linear kind of path. Like, this is what you have to do. This is how you. It's like they're telling us how to enjoy this game.
And if you're gonna go linear, make it very linear and like
Yeah.
actually have a plot instead of having no plot and just
Yeah.
having nothing. And then you're like, okay, it's not open world. There's no plot.
I mean,
what am I doing?
Microsoft just drop some coin, have someone write the backstory. Why
If you're gonna go that way,
silent and
yeah.
Stuff, you know, like World of Warcraft does it. They have this entire universe.
Exactly.
And where every NPC, and there are thousands of them, they're all linked to this great kind of universe, and I appreciate that. You don't know who these people are.
Doesn't matter. You don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't care.
Yeah,
There's people you sell your chest to.
exactly.
I'm saying it's an
They do-
opportunity to do it.
They do have these curse voyages now, and they're direct like modifications to maybe like your sword or something like that. It's still an aesthetic thing, but something you can do to your own player's skin and all that, like make it look like it has cracks in it or something, or you know, when people are like obsessed with gold, you know, part of their face turns gold. It
Oh, they do?
actually their whole
Golden
arm
face?
is
What's
gold.
the opposite?
Golden face.
Something like that.
Golden
But
puck.
it takes you on like its own little story. You're still
That's cool.
vulnerable to the rest of the world, but the quest isn't just like go to this island, find this. Like you have a journal and you have to sift through the information that's in there and follow this. And there's usually somebody trying to direct you, an NPC of some sort, trying to help you out. And there
That's great.
sometimes, like the Ashen Voyage, it starts off and you see like this ghost battle of a ship or this fight that did happen, and as you're approaching it, then you watch it kind of progress and a boat sinking and the others moving on and continuing the
Great.
fight, and you
So
follow it.
Is this only available for Pirate Legends?
No. This can be for everyone.
Okay.
This is stuff that again wasn't in the initial release, and that's why I think it's great that they actually started to like. It's funny. It almost exposes it more when they release stuff that makes it more like, oh, this is what the game should have been
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we added a bunch of like silly, frilly, whatever
No.
little tiny things. Like, no, this is
Yeah.
like core essential stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting because so there's a title in the game called Pirate Legend, and you basically unlock a new area with some more, I guess, challenging hardcore quests and stuff like that.
See,
but
that's good. That's incentive.
yeah. And but in order to get there, you have to hit level 50 with 3 of the trading companies, and the level 50 is the max level for the trading companies, and they haven't really done a lot of direct improvements to the cookie cutter trading company quests. So there's still that like initial element of like, oh, there's all this really cool stuff, but it's behind like this grind wall that you
Oh,
have
it's
to
definitely
like,
a
get
wall,
through.
yeah.
Also, why
So,
can't I make
yeah.
anyone walk the plank in a pirate game? That's criminal.
That's a great.
Right. And
That's
why is
criminal.
it that the Galleon's the only one with a plank?
I didn't even know it had a plank.
Yeah, me neither.
It's great.
Does it?
You can lock your friends in the brig, but that's about it.
Yeah.
They have
That's a
brig,
voting
yeah,
system.
but
I'm gonna force them like a normal pirate.
Yeah.
Some basic stuff they totally neglected on for sure.
Oh, a foot.
What?
Hey, Rachel.
That's Rachel.
Foot? I didn't see that.
So yeah, it's one of the and that kind of ties me to the incentives for doing stuff. So I'll
Suck
say,
it up, Buttercup.
yeah, we don't really go into Sea of Thieves voyages with the expectation of like getting anything out of them other than like the fun and joy of having an adventure with friends. One, because they take a while, so like oftentimes we'll get like, an hour into a voyage and then it's like, oh, I gotta go, bye, guess I'm not getting any loot.
I feel like the bulk of Go ahead.
Yeah, or like, so I think a lot of the fun comes to like, oh, let's go find some person who's spent an hour doing something and let's go take their shit. Or like the PvP aspects are kind of where I personally take most of the enjoyment.
That and like we spoke about in previous podcast about gaming, seasoned gamers, like they hop into a game like Sea of Thieves, an open world sandbox, and we try to break the game in ways that in any way we can. Like we really
Best beta testers. Yeah.
I mean, we tried drinking underwater. It worked for some reason. We played
That was
instruments
awesome.
underwater.
Yep,
It was
yep.
great. And that video
We
again
flew
will be
our ship
down below.
across the map.
Yeah. But that's what we do. So every time we hop into the game, the four of us, I immediately hit the record button because I know we're gonna see some fuck shit. Like it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be funny. But it's only because we're breaking the game, not because the game itself is interesting.
It's kind of a shame because that kind of is gone now. It's like the Skyrim formula. Like if
Yeah.
you want to do Skyrim, you're gonna notice there's some goofy ass bugs, but at least there's unlimited content as far as like narrative or just in terms of questing or whatever. And so like they knew what they got. They knew they were gonna focus on that and not the buggy stuff, which was also entertaining. People enjoy it. It's like endearing. So it's a weird mix of like what are you going for?
Also, the buggy stuff in Skyrim was mostly out of mods because they were nice enough to let us mod the game.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Different shit. Yeah. I like that.
And so they've also recently, I don't think any of us have actually played it yet, but they've added a new arena mode to Sea of Thieves, which is
Just naval combat.
supposed. Yeah, it's supposed to be like. Have you played it yet, Leet? Or
Yeah. I played
All right, talk
a
about
little
it.
bit of it. It's actually kind of a blast. It's very stressful. Everybody starts. The bigger the ship, like so you can go. If all four of us went in there, we'd go into a galleon, and that's a lot harder of I guess to search. A lot of people are fighting on sloops and whatnot. So the galleons and brigs, they start like everybody's back to back in this giant circle, and as soon as you load in, you have to put down your sails. You have to bring up your anchor, and you immediately have to go get this chest. And a lot of people either go for the chest, like fire off one of their people onto the island and try to grab it and run away, while others are doing the same and they're chasing you around the island while you're fighting, or people will stay in the water and just start shooting the ships. So it's just this whole clusterfuck of cannon fire, gunfire, sword fighting, people screaming nonsense at you, people boarding your ship without you realizing it. It's actually a lot better than I thought it would be.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you think immediately naval warfare, it's like you first think it's two opposing factions, but this is more like a free for all, right?
Yeah, this is.
It's just a bunch of people like.
It's like King of the Hill chest version.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Actually, somebody try that.
So
What's even better, when you get this chest, if you turn it in, you get like 1,000 points. But if your ship sinks in that process after you've accumulated points, you can accumulate points killing people, doing damage, all this stuff. If you accumulate points and you sink, you lose all those points. You reset to 0. Then you respawn, you have to drop sail, pick up anchor, and you got to go try to restart. And it's like 15 minutes.
Yikes.
And
it goes fast.
If I remember correctly, all the reputation and stuff you gain from this mode all goes towards there's like a Sea Dogs trading company.
Yeah.
I think it all goes towards that. So you can technically get one of your trading companies to level 50 doing the arena mode as well. But then, like on one hand, I think that's awesome. Like I think that's like taking what kind of we are sort of wanting, what we like out of the game is the intense PvP action, or like being kind of in the thick of it at certain times, and getting that sort of itch scratched immediately, like getting dropped right in. But on the other hand, I think it does take away a little bit from the other game mode, because now all the PvP players are like, oh, well, I'm just going to go to the arena mode. I don't need to go to the normal mode.
Yeah, it's what you're focused on. Like, I mean, that it does also come off as like, oh, Fortnite's pretty big right now. Did you know they're a battle royale? Maybe we should try put one of those in our game.
A battle royale with ships, no one's ever done that before.
It's fine if it applies naturally to your game, but if you do have to force it, it could be like Fallout 76, where it was like a disaster.
Yeah.
And it's like, is the game popular enough to where it's worth adding more game modes, or are we going to start getting into in like a month or so, once the Steam hype dies down a little bit, are we going to get into hour-long queue times for an arena match that's going to last 15 minutes?
Yeah, and because of this recent release, they've gotten a second wind. Haha, you can use that.
Haha.
So it's not the game's almost renewed in a way. It's not like how Destiny worked, where they have the player base, they can do anything they want with it, and just because they had a Crucible mode didn't mean that you wouldn't find millions of other players in the other planets and stuff, because like you said, and I'm just agreeing with you, it's just they just don't have the player base right now.
Yeah, Destiny is a good example, because it's similar in terms of you go to this area and there's a bunch of other people that happen to be there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I love that they took that and they made it into this pirate kind of thing. It definitely fits and it's great. It's just that when it first came out, it was a concept. It was more than an actual game, and now it's like they finally actually made it into something worth anything. Probably $40 on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as it stands right now, is it worth $40? That's the question.
I would say yes.
Oh, it's worth $40, sure.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm thinking Canadian.
Sure.
So it'd be what, $50?
I could see
it's
most
not worth
people,
$50. It's not worth $40 in that case.
I think most people would find some intrigue in getting to that first level. Like, I'm gonna buy this mast. I'm gonna buy this piece of the ship. It's I think there's that one thing you want to buy, but once you buy that, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at after I
think if you have three friends to play it with, and if it's in a time like now when there's people on the servers, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, and also just clear out the next hour and a half.
You have to schedule time to play the game.
Honestly,
sometimes.
Yeah, it's not like in Valorant we hop and we know it's just gonna be an hour. That's it.
The spike rush,
Spike rushes, yeah.
Yeah, not normal Valorant games.
No.
But, quick games, yeah.
But yeah, good game. Overall, I would say now. I mean, back then I fucking despised it. I think it was a scam.
It was the origin of the $60 meme.
Well, yeah, we paid full price back then, right?
Yeah, we paid $60 a year ago for half a game, and now you get $40 for a full game. So of course we're gonna agree it's worth $40 because we paid $60 for it.
It's funny because Steve was the whole thing was that you hated Destiny, so you knew you were wary of these things, and yet
I'm not gonna go into it, but
main proponent.
Destiny. It was like Destiny all over again, essentially, with Sea of Thieves to some degree. Thankfully, I wasn't as discouraged as I was with Destiny, because
I think Sea of Thieves was a little more.
I wasn't forced to pay again.
It was a little more often. It's there was no DLC. There's no. It was just
they added the free patches. All the stuff they've added has been free since release. I think
that's
worth
mentioning. It was just very much limited to what they said it was.
Yeah, it was. I think they kind of knew internally that what they were releasing was not full content. So they had a roadmap out there when it was initially released, basically saying we're going to be releasing a new content update every 6 months or whatnot. And the whole new area, which we haven't even talked about the new area yet, they've added a lot of that kind of stuff. So I think the map as a whole is getting bigger. So I don't want to just have us all, shitting all over the game and saying it's not as good as it can
I'm
be.
the only one shitting on the game. Right?
No, they changed my mind.
I think it's getting better. It's getting progressively better, and I'm still interested to see as to where it's going to be continuously.
It's very similar to the No Man's Sky model, where they had a game, they made $1 bajillion day one because people loved the hype. Very similar. And either one, you can run away, take the money, and become hated for the rest of your lives, or two, you can work on the game and try to make it better, to make it worth it, what you actually promised. And No Man's Sky kind of took that second option. Yeah, that second option is just working your ass off and just getting shit out, making it worthwhile and free because you paid for it already. And so they seem to be taking a similar model, which is the way better model than just taking the money and running, obviously. So
yeah, so
you
I
gotta
think
applaud that.
I think there's still more to come.
No Man's Sky actually changed from being a really shitty release game into a mediocre game, which is fine.
Yeah, no.
Now we just need to see where Sea of Thieves is gonna go.
It's pretty similar so far, but we'll see.
It seems like they're starting to make some big changes. There's actually a recent release of like 6.5 gigs, and it's a whole new PvP commendation fight of some sort.
Yeah.
Like with the skull itself instead is like this giant captain's head laughing, and as soon as players see that, it shows that there's somebody there or something like that. I've not gotten into it yet.
I think that
I'm interested.
That's one of the good things about having kind of like the niche community of like, open world pirate games, essentially, is that the community is going to stick around, right? There's no other competitor out there right now to Sea of Thieves.
No.
So it's not like the next battle royale game, like, it's so
and they have the cash cow. If you want to buy like pets and crap, you could spend thousands of dollars if you want to. Like they have an option, which is, despicable.
Cosmetics is the driving factor of
easy to avoid if you're not
anything.
Some people will, and then if they make a shitload of money that way and continue the game, then absolutely go for it.
Yeah. So, but I'll talk briefly about the new area that was, I'll say, pseudo recently added. So there's like a whole, I don't know what the exact area is called, but it's basically kind of like a firestorm area, essentially, where there's a lot of islands that are essentially volcanoes that can erupt. So like we recently did a skull fort in this new area, and us not really knowing the area just decided, oh, it's just a skull fort or whatnot. And then like we're in the middle of fighting skeletons, and all of a sudden we're like, is that an earthquake? And then these big steam pockets open up underneath us, and you just have these geysers shooting out hot water underneath you, which it makes it super interesting and super fun because you're like, in constant earthquake with geysers shooting out boiling water while fighting skeletons on an island, and you're just like trying to dodge and weave, and like the skeletons are dying to the geysers as well. And it's completely random.
I like that because it's a lot more engaging than the base game,
Yeah, and then like we're all on the island fighting in this geyser storm. All of a sudden, we look up and the volcano is erupting, and there's these big balls of magma falling down, and then one hits our ship. And all of a sudden, like, we're in a situation where one of us has to run back to the ship and like throw water everywhere. And of course, the water that's filling our hull is boiling water. So we're taking damage as we're trying to patch the holes, like waist deep in boiling water, shoveling out. Then you have to set sail, and one of us has to sail around the island, dodging flaming rocks, while the other two are on the island fighting skeletons in the geysers. So I think like that is a lot going on. Like that is awesome.
Yeah, they did a good job making it harder, making it more like intricate, and really exploiting the things they already had, and keeping it simple but more intense.
Yeah, and I think because like not every Skull Keep is like that, right? Just this new area. So I think that's kind of the vibe they're going for. Is they have like the safe shallows area, and then they have like hardcore haven over here.
Yeah,
smart move. They should have done that originally.
yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping they'll add even more areas. We talked about this a little bit, but I guess any sort of like what could the game use now? Like what does it need more of at this point? We talked about some creative ideas about like underwater caves or like different kinds of things. Is there another aspect of the game that we haven't talked about yet that could use some improvement or any ideas?
I think the game just needs to figure out its own identity, what it wants to be, and I on one side of the token, I respect that they knew what they wanted and they just went with it, because it's really hard to make a game that pleases everybody. Like you're not gonna please the FPS people with this game. You're not gonna appease the the MMORPG people with this game. They kind of half-assed a lot of things and put it together.
They kind of ended up in the middle.
Yeah, and just released.
So where they please nobody.
Yeah, but eventually they're gonna have to pick a path, and I feel like they're gonna go hardcore more into the MMORPG kind of style of quests and stuff like that, And if Crucible was FPS hardcore for Destiny, Arena will be that for Sea of Thieves. That's how I feel. It'll be there, but it's not the main focus.
I would say the most necessary thing would be a better reward system, or at least something that's worth going towards. In terms of, like, for me, the most major, huge problem is how slow it takes to get rewards and to cash in stuff and just do the game.
Yeah.
So they made something. It's the smallest thing to make it like easier to do that. Like, oh, you could just turn all your stuff into the edge of the the port, like the little dock. One, because the dock is hard to actually dock with, so it would be like a skill thing. Like, oh, we got to actually land our ship right on the dock. And two, it's like it'd make it so much quicker, it'd be so much easier, so much more enjoyable to get that stuff done. So stuff like that would make it better. Just which is what they did. That's why they implemented the rowboat. That's why they implemented like the chest you could put multiple skull or other valuables in to make it go quicker.
Or get rid of the low value chests essentially.
That too. I would cut those out for sure.
Yeah, I think it's not worth it. I mean,
I'd have them in there just to kind of
piss people off.
No,
pull it off. Yeah, you
just
want
to make the other shit more seem more valuable. You know, you need a dynamic.
As long as you make it easier for them to turn in, you would actually kind of want, you'd be like, oh, it's just 100 gold, but it's easier to do now because the game's better. So I'll actually go for that.
Yeah.
So I think making it just easier to turn in and stuff like that would be huge.
The risk reward factor needs a little bit of tuning as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a bundle of moderate cost chests per island. Like not like, you know, if you I think there should be a general sense, like if you're doing a Gold Hoarders quest line, you're going to make on average 500 gold per hour of questing, like something like that. I think they need to work out a little bit of the math in terms of the RMG to make it more consistent.
Also,
it's a little random.
Lore is a huge thing they need to like implement.
Yeah, it's empty as hell.
It's nothing. You're just a pirate. That's it.
Yeah, make it characteristic.
Yeah.
It's so easy too, because like there were Asian pirates, there was Western pirates, there was every kind of pirate. It's just a type of culture
Arabian
that has people on a ship. So you could do so many cool things, and they've literally done none of it. It's just like the basic Caribbean pirate, basic and they have like the Reaper, like Assassin's Creed thing they're going for now. I was like,
it's funny because some of the islands have people on them, like NPCs now, and you talk to the NPCs and they don't do anything.
No, like
they don't say anything.
Make it as if like you'll find someone stranded in an island and you get money for like shipping him back home, or you can make him walk the plank. Look, there's a brilliant application for the plank thing.
Or they attack you relentlessly.
They're actually a skeleton captain or something.
So you can get money if you return him, or you can gain pirate infamy. Maybe another thing, like in Sea of Thieves could if you're an infamous pirate, you have like you could be rewarded and such. Like you can make him walk the plank for infamy. Or you could return him for, mad stacks.
I think we can all agree, though, the most important thing they need to add is wenches. The women in this game are just really unattractive.
Yeah, I think my
big want to have women respect you. Come on.
Yeah, where was the pillage mode?
Yeah, I know, right? Where's pillage? I think my big three. I want to see like cursed chests. Like cursed chests would be great, where like you pick up a cursed chest and all of a sudden you're being attacked by cursed pirate ships until you turn it in.
Oh yeah, they have unlimited potential with those. Like I can imagine they do like one that's like it just plays bad music, like the drunk tracks.
Yeah. Oh, the annoying stuff.
Like, it's just worth it. It's just worth it. It's like constantly having to listen.
ears screeching.
There's so many creative things you can do.
A kraken chest that can summon a kraken.
Yeah, or more likely to summon it. It's
like
that would suck.
Yeah, or like
do you get anything from surviving a kraken attack, or is it just like a
Same thing with Megalodon too. They drop loot.
So that's
actual chests and everything.
Oh, okay, cool.
And their meat. You can sell their meat if you cook it up. You can sell it to some hunter guy.
The hunters
and you make gold off that.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. I think the other two things they need to add is they need to take the riddles and the treasure maps, and they need to make them better. I think treasure maps should be partial maps that you have to find pieces of.
Yeah.
To construct the full island. I think the first piece you find just has the X spot, but you have to find the rest of the spots.
They need to have like what Escape from Tarkov does with like a home-based safe house where you have all your loot over days that you just collect. So like finding rare stuff, like that could even increase like maybe the trading potential outside of the game.
Yeah, you can find a rare sword.
Like that.
You can find a rare gun.
Now that it's on Steam, which already has a trading inventory like way to do it.
Yeah,
a system. There shouldn't be anything stopping them. The only difficulty would be cross-platform from people who have bought it on Microsoft.
Yeah.
So I think
Otherwise, we'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so making those better, making like the riddles better. I think the traditional trading company quests need a makeover
It's
in
not the
their
hard part.
entirety.
Wait, speaking
Just like
of
you
that,
change the writing a little bit, you just change the programming a little bit.
Yeah, like small details, but they make all the difference.
But like Desi said, it's the polishing of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I feel like if you have Sea of Thieves on Microsoft, you should just get it on Steam. They need to work a deal out that way, because that's what Blizzard did with Destiny 2. Like, if you had it on Blizzard, you can get it on Steam. But that was a whole migration, so it's different.
yeah,
But,
it happened.
But
I'm
the
surprised
trading
they didn't have
system
it
would be
all.
amazing, because pirates trade. Pirates always have trade in the past. Whether it's for your
think
life, money,
Sparta.
like whatever. Like, that's a huge part. Like, these little things that are so essential to a life
Flush it out,
pirating. They just miss they miss it completely.
Yeah, I think
On
last two things: maelstroms and diving.
Yeah.
Like a diving, like salvaging.
You can
something
do like
that.
deep sea diving, because like, you know, with the tube that goes down and you're like
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the longest time, which was super simplistic,
Yeah.
and simple.
And they could have like a system where you rock paper scissors or pick the shortest straw and that person has to go down.
Yeah. All right. So, Nick, talk a little bit about the end game and then about things that you want to see in the game. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick.
In game, not really much to in game. There's like we've said, there is no point to keep going. You hit that pirate legend, your max level. Black said, or Steve said it was level 50. It's actually 75 for all of the levels, but I don't think there's anything that goes beyond that. You grind out this big chest called an Athena. There's certain quests that upgrade that level as well, but all you're doing for that is getting skin
I
again.
like big chests and skin.
So it's like you like the ghost stuff, the ghost ship, the ghost hall,
I feel
the
like-
ghost outfit that I have on. Like, that's all you're working for.
I mean, at the end of the game, like once you've got level 75 pirate legend and stuff, I feel like that's when you get to actually be a pirate, because that's when you can like just get online and just like ruin people's days, right?
That'd be
Just
cool.
getting-
Yeah. But you can do that at level 50 for the most part. You don't have to be max level to ruin it.
that's
Level
true.
50 once you hit that threshold.
Oh no, for sure. But I'm saying that like if there's nothing else to gain from the game at that point, you might as well be an actual pirate and, you know, just gank people.
That'd be a
Yeah.
cool reward, yeah.
Yeah, that would save Rare from actually building NPCs to make the seas a little more dangerous. Because at the moment, it's just what, sharks, krakens. That's
Cursed ships.
it. Cursed ships.
Yeah.
Like that's
Open
it.
cruise, yeah.
So you can actually have real people just.
But you
doing
want
that
the
shit.
balance to be
Just go
somewhat.
around and fight.
Yeah.
You want newbies to get annihilated by god tier pirate boys.
So that's where I feel like you have tiers of like different areas. Let's see,
Oh,
where
yeah.
a newbie could go into the deep end if they so choose. If they wanted
Yes. Yes.
to, or
Choose it did.
or they could just like, you know, kill boars in the starting area.
Right.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways you could do it.
Yeah, I think definitely the idea of adding these kind of new sections
Yeah.
that sort of have different elements, like, you know, like they could have an ice biome next where maybe there's issues where like every so often the ocean freezes over
Vikings were pirates, technically.
and you can
Yeah,
leave
no,
your
no.
ship and start walking on the ocean to get to an island.
That'd
Lots
be
of cool
neat.
stuff you could do
Or
with
you'd
Sea.
have to
Wow.
get out and, like, you know, on foot, because this has
Axe
happened in
the water
history.
or
Axe the
something.
water, yeah. Or
Yeah.
use
Hit an
a
iceberg.
use a like an explosive barrel to kind of like blow a path open
Yeah.
or something.
That's like
Yeah.
the perfect example of this game where it's like you have so much potential and you have so many ideas and people can just
Or
give
get an
you
icebreaker ship.
I mean,
or
we
something
could
like
talk
that.
about amazing ideas for a naval game all we want, but like
Yes,
I'm going to
Rare.
return to what I'm saying is that Rare knew what they wanted, and this is it.
Yeah.
They wanted the basic Caribbean pirate experience is what you get when you buy this game
Yeah.
at $40,
Yeah.
not 60, and as it is now, and it does good at that. But it's just a shame because it has like pretty much unlimited potential, and that's what they were, you know, banking on from the very beginning.
I think they definitely nailed the mechanics
The water looks great.
of the mechanics and the visuals of an open world
Fantastic, yeah.
The canon
pirating game.
PvP is fantastic too.
Yeah, there's a lot of like fantastic elements to those aspects. And I think what we're going to see probably going forward is either in this game or in future games is a very similar take on the mechanic aspect, and then kind of taking one of those, like you were saying, Dayaan, how they were kind of sitting in the middle of sort of whether they wanted to go hard PvP or hard, MMORPG.
Yeah.
I think we'll see some future games kind of start taking like a stab at each of those different directions.
Sure. Yeah. The games in this design are like uncharted waters, basically. Anyone can come up and like just make their own version of it. Black Wake did it a long time ago, and I like that. But they focused on hardcore PvP, which is good. But they knew what they want. They marketed it as such. Sea of Thieves' crutch was that they said this is going to be an open sandbox kind of game. There's going to be plenty to explore and stuff, and it just like fell short in the beginning.
They tried to do everything at once, and they fell right in the middle.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of studios do that. Quake Champions did it. Destiny.
Yeah, I mean,
no, Destiny was actually really good on release.
Yeah, I think hats off to Rare for even trying a game like this.
Yeah.
I think, and it was a successful game, and it still is a successful game. Like we've talked some negative things about it, but there was a lot of positive aspects of this game. It's the idea of the potential, right? Is we all see the potential in the game. That's why we talk about it so much.
I should say as well, I'm sure you've noticed I've just been straight shitting on the game, but I have not played the new content yet.
You should.
Everything I've said has to do with like the release, the
so Dayaan's played old version. Greg and I have played old version and new version, and then Nick has played a lot of the new version. But he hasn't played the old version. So I think in terms of the trajectory of the game, well, actually, let's do this. Let's go around the room and let's just kind of get our closing thoughts, sort of on the game and sort of where we stand.
I'll go. Speaking from both perspectives, I first had a terrible impression of it. I thought it was incredibly, they overreached their bounds and they went too far, and they advertised it for more than it was, and they charged more than it was. And of course, Microsoft's to blame. It was expected, but it was disappointing nonetheless. And then eventually I was pleasantly surprised when I was brought back into it with the new content and it all being free and it all feeling natural and organic and well thought out. And so ultimately it ended up being a pretty solid game for how much time I put into it, and it ended up costing. So I was actually surprisingly happy with it. I mean, it is definitely still like not what it originally promised to be. It's not like endless. It's very much a simplistic game. But it was a well-crafted and well-made game at this point where they actually added the initial extra features that make it more playable in general. It's great.
So it's hard not to echo what Greg said, but because it is what it is. But my gripe is that if you're going to charge a AAA price, I expect a polished, finished game. It's a really bold move to charge $60. For an alpha, that takes balls, to do that. And which is why I'll repeat it again. Rare knew exactly what they were doing. They already thought that this was it. Yeah, they'd come up with updates in the future and stuff. Yeah, they'd add content just to increase the life cycle of Sea of Thieves. But at that time, they thought this was it. This was a perfect game, and so they charged $60 for it. But the reception, man,
it was bad right off the bat. Yeah, it was
straight up. I felt so claustrophobic into this one thing. When you're playing with a group of friends, we play the game at different paces, right? So let's say I'm still figuring out why can I eat this worm? And meanwhile, Steve is already loaded up the ship and everything like that. Greg's playing an instrument. Nick's already in the crow's nest. What? So it's so.
But the worm.
I've never felt so detached in a game like this, where and then it makes sense. This is a grind.
It makes sense.
We just got back. We sold. Let's go back out and do it again.
It's a happy surprise because it literally could have been so many games where the first release happens, they get all their money and they just book it. They're done. It just happened because it was a reputable company, and I think they probably were planning it, like you're saying. I think they actually did know what they were doing, but they would add those free things. Thank God for that, because otherwise it would not have been.
No. So at the time, you land back, you dock, you sell. Here's the thing. When I get back on that ship, I'm dreaming of like, oh, we may encounter this. We may come across another island. We may fight another ship. But no, you're literally doing the same fucking thing. You're going, you're getting a chest, you're loading it in, and like you clear an island, multiple shit, explosive, whatever, you come back, go out, do the same fucking thing. And then maybe, if you're lucky, you'll find a shipwreck. Like, $60.
All right,
dude.
so here's the thing. Here's the thing. So after all that, would you give the latest version of the game a chance, or the arena mode a chance?
Absolutely, both of them. Absolutely.
But you still have the game.
Again,
it's like,
I will
Exactly,
say again,
you still have it. Yeah.
I'm literally just talking about. I'm still salty. Haha. It's another.
No, I agree. It's like me and Destiny. It's like me and Destiny.
Yeah.
3
pirate
pun.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that it's not like everything is forgiven from when the game was initially released. They should not have charged $60 for a tech demo. That's what that was. It was a tech demo. But I think they're at least going in the right direction. So go ahead, Nick, real quick with your impressions, and then I'll close it out.
It, like Greg said, he pretty much nailed it all exactly. I don't remember all of it. No, I'm just I am surprised with how much I do like it. I still, even with the new stuff, I don't think it's worth $40 in my opinion. I'm glad I didn't go through the frustrations that these guys did, because I probably would have never touched it. But I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see what else comes out, and I'm hoping that they're listening to people like you guys with all these fantastic ideas where you're sitting there like...
I'll be sending this episode to Rare, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like, how have you not thought of this? You're grown-ass people. Like, you guys have an imagination, right? You made a video game. What's stopping you?
Like, we are a group of Karens. Just like, I'm gonna
Oh,
find that manager.
Where's the dev lead?
Yeah.
But I'm happy with it. I'm glad I picked it up. I'm excited.
I mean,
that's the big thing. It's just the fact that we don't despise our experience, which is, I mean, for plenty of games I've had that I regret buying that game. This game I did regret at first, and it's actually like, okay, it matched where I wanted, so it was good.
I would say on the grand list of all the games that we've been like disappointed at, I'd say this one is like, or all the games that we've played, all the AAA titles, like of all the ones that have fallen short, I think this one is not bad. Like it's not a bad game. I think, coming from like developer perspective, I can understand the whole idea behind like deadlines and wanting to have a bug-free game. And it's like, oh, well, adding all these features could add like 7 months to development, and we got to release the game because we're going to go bankrupt. All that kind of stuff that happens, and having a publisher breathe down your neck and all that kind of stuff. So I think, I think Rare has good intentions.
They could have gone the opposite. They could have gone all a shitload of stuff, and it was all insanely unpolished and disaster, like insanely bad.
Real quick, I just calculated. For $60, I could have bought 47 cans of beans.
Wow!
47 cans of beans.
Goddamn shame.
On the sea.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Fantastic. Glad to know. We're gonna put that in our bean stats below the in the description below.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is our perspective on Sea of Thieves. If you would like to check out the latest version of Sea of Thieves, please go check it out on Steam.
Watch our YouTube videos.
You can also check it out on the Microsoft Store. We've said some good things about the game. We've said some bad things about the game. We've talked about the game's potential and potential for the future. So feel free to give it a look yourself. Check out some of the content and see if it's something you're interested in playing. And let us know if you thought that our feedback was helpful, or if we're just, a couple of people with their heads up our asses. So let's go ahead and close it out. So go ahead. Where can people find you guys?
DesperadoGPJ on Steam. You can find me on Steam. See ya.
All right. Perfect. Dayaan.
No, I'll go last. Nick.
Okay, cool. Nick, go.
Yep. LeetDemon on Steam.
Yeah.
God.
LeetDemon on Steam. Nicholas_Delk on Twitter, and LeetDemon on Twitch.
You're the face of the brand. You can't be crashing like this.
Sorry.
One person we need to
The
have.
bean thing threw me off. It was terrible.
many
Like,
beans.
why?
Too many beans.
All right.
All right.
You can find me.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa!
I'm good to go, guys. I just,
yeah.
I am Steve the Pirate. You guys, aka Blackened X27 on Twitch, or Blackened on Steam. All right, go ahead.
All right. You can find me on Instagram at @NoHackingWay. You can also find me on Twitter at I am Dayaan, just like it says right there. You can also find all of us on Twitter at @officialGNSD, which is right down there. Everyone point at it. No. Down. Swear, it's like herding cats. But yeah, thank you, Steve. Like, actually, I meant to drop the pun. Like, I'm gonna name the episode that Sea of Thieves because I like it so much. But yeah,
Steve.
the weird thing is, like, I honestly want to play Sea of Thieves tomorrow with you guys. Like, hearing about all this new cool shit.
Yeah.
Let's
Check
do
out
it.
our YouTube channel to see that footage.
Yeah. So right now, boys and girls, or whatever you prefer, we don't have an official YouTube channel yet because of the way YouTube works. So temporarily, all our episodes are still on my YouTube channel. You can find it at, well, if you found it already, you're watching this stuff. Yeah. But future episodes, again, will go on the official GNSD Twitter account. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later. Who's hosting next?
I am.
Nick's hosting next. All right. We'll find out what that's about. And I'm sure it'll be great. And
Bye, everybody.
we'll see
Hope
you guys
you
later.
are having a good day.
Catch you later.
See ya!